Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another very easy keto cookie recipe for you. Today we are going to make keto molasses cookie substitutes. You are going to love these because they give you that nice molasses kind of flavor without all of the carbs. So if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while you do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper and set them aside for a minute. In a large mixing bowl, combine 120 grams or around 1 cup of coconut flour, 100 grams or around a half cup of the granulated sweetener of your choice. I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. You can use whatever granulated sweetener you want. You can also adjust this more or less depending on how sweet you want your cookies. Add 100 grams or around a half cup of the brown sugar sweetener of your choice. I'm using brown monk fruit sweetener. Again, you can use whatever brown sugar sweetener you want. And again, you can also adjust this more or less depending on how sweet you want your cookies. Add 10 grams or around 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and around 5 grams or about 2.5 teaspoons of the dry spices of your choice. I'm using 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and a half teaspoon of ground nutmeg. You can change or adjust these spices according to your taste. Sift these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 3 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature so they stir in more smooth. Stir the eggs into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients are moist. Add a half cup of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cooled. You do not want to add hot butter. Stir the butter in until everything is fully combined. Add 112 grams or around a half cup of the oil of your choice. I prefer grapeseed oil or coconut oil. Again, it's whatever oil you choose. Stir the oil in until everything is fully combined. Add 80 grams or around a 1/4 cup of the keto syrup of your choice. I'm using Chalk Zero's caramel syrup because I think the caramel tastes added to the brown sugar sweetener and to the extract that we're going to be adding in a minute gives it more of a molasses feel and molasses taste in your cookie, but you can use whatever keto syrup you want. Add around 9 grams or about 2 teaspoons of maple or vanilla extract. If you can find molasses flavoring, that's actually ideal to use for this. But depending on where you live, molasses flavoring can be hard to find. So if you can't find molasses flavoring, then maple or vanilla extract works just fine. Stir the syrup and the extract in until everything is fully combined and you have a smooth dough that's formed. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push all the dough to the center of the bowl. Then form the dough into a smooth ball. Massage the dough ball in your hands for about 1 minute. This is going to help the dough absorb any extra moisture, and this is also going to help you make sure that you have the right texture in your dough. This dough is going to be a very moist dough, but it should not be sticking to your hands. If it's sticking to your hands, then you need to add just very, very small amounts more of coconut flour. So as you're massaging the dough, it should be coming together really well and staying together very well. After you've massaged the dough for 1 minute, form it back into a ball, place it back into your mixing bowl, and allow it to sit at room temperature for about 5 minutes to absorb any extra moisture. While the dough is sitting, in a wide bowl, place around 100 grams or about a half cup of the granulated sweetener of your choice. And again, I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. We're going to use this as a coating for the cookies, so you may need to use a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how much of a granulated coating you're going to want on your cookies. Then set that aside for just a second. Check on your dough, and after it's set for 5 minutes and absorbed a little bit of the moisture, it's still going to be a very moist dough. Scoop the dough out about 1 tablespoon at a time and place it onto your prepared baking sheets. Make sure when you're scooping it onto the baking sheets, you place the dough scoops around 2 inches apart. You need space for these. They don't rise a whole lot, but they do spread. These do spread a little bit more than the average coconut flour cookie does. Take each dough scoop and roll each dough scoop into a smooth ball. Then take the dough balls one at a time and roll them around in your bowl of granulated sweetener until the dough balls are completely coated with the amount of granulated sweetener that you want. Then after they're coated, place them back onto the baking sheet. Once the dough balls are coated, use your hands and press the dough balls out to shape the cookies into your desired size and shape. Now keep in mind when you are shaping these cookies do spread. Most of the time coconut flour cookies don't really spread that much. These do. So if you're wanting a little bit more of a lift to your cookies, then just barely flatten the tops of your cookies. If you're wanting thin cookies, then press them out to a more flat disc type shape. I like my cookies to have a little bit of lift to them, so I just barely flatten the tops. The first batch I made of these, I flattened into disc cookies, and they were a little more thin than I wanted them to be, but some people like thin cookies, so that is up to you, how thin or thick you want to shape your cookies out to. Once the cookies are all shaped, place them in your preheated oven. Bake at 375 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes or until the cookies are golden around the edges. Once the cookies are cooked, remove them from the oven. They will be very soft, so allow them to cool on the rack for at least 10 minutes so they can firm up. Once the cookies have firmed up, transfer them to a wire rack and allow them to cool completely before serving them. Once they've cooled completely, you can serve them immediately. If you do have any leftovers, store them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 1 week. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.